This fat girl was going to the toilet when her classmates locked the door and wouldn't let her out. No matter how much she screamed and begged, they still wouldn't open the door. She sat down, feeling wronged, and burst into tears, not understanding why she was being treated like that. She wondered if being fat was also a crime. However, her classmates didn't think so. They always considered bullying her a joy. One time, Mi-rae was eating at a roadside restaurant, and her classmates came over to tease her for being fat and never knowing when she was full. This made Mi-rae angry, and she went to them to teach them a lesson. However, being isolated and treated disrespectfully many times made her very sad. So Mi-rae decided to lose weight. She believed that with her efforts, she would definitely succeed. After a process of constant training, Mi-rae has a slim and well-proportioned figure. There was a time when Mi-rae lived a normal life like any other child. Her grades were quite good. Her mood was also optimistic and positive. She enjoyed that time very much. But when Mi-rae first gathered up her courage to confess to the person she liked, the result made her extremely disappointed. Not only did the other person reject her, but he also slandered her with bad words. He said that with Mi-rae's status, she dared to think she could be his girlfriend. After those insults, Mi-rae realized that she had never been respected. Her bad past made her feel inferior and always thought that because she grew up ugly, her classmates started to hate her. She always hoped that she would have a sweet love in her school years. Just like all the other girls, she could go out to eat, go out and date person she liked. After Mi-rae graduated from high school, her mother took her to a hospital for plastic surgery. Since then, Mi-rae has become a beautiful girl. The first thing she did was change her ID card, then take a makeup class. And from then on, the ugly fat girl from when she was young, Mi-rae has now become an extremely beautiful and charming girl. Today is the first day of university. Mi-rae and her best friend Hyun-jung are busy taking pictures on campus. However, at this moment, a male student approached and asked for Mi-rae's phone number. Only then did she dare to believe that she had truly become beautiful. After that, Mi-rae ran to register as a new student. When she looked at her other classmates, she secretly rated the female students' appearances. While she was lost in thought, a person named Hyun-soo, a freshman in the chemistry department, walked over. Hyun-soo acted friendly and greeted them. But when Mi-rae saw Hyun-soo, she was sure that Hyun-soo was a naturally beautiful girl. She had a pure beauty, both innocent and lovely. Beautiful girls like this would definitely be welcomed by everyone at the university. However, at this time, a hot boy also came to the chemistry department to register. The seniors saw it and couldn't stop exclaiming and admiring. This year's students were really full of handsome men and beautiful women. After the registration process ended, all the new students gathered in the lecture hall. After that, they sat and listened to the experiences of their seniors. This handsome guy successfully attracted the attention of the girls. At the end of the meeting, Mi-rae felt that this guy looked a bit familiar. When it came time for the class introduction, the guy immediately walked towards the center. This guy's name was Kyung-soo. Normally, he was very active, especially sports, and his specialty was drinking. If any of his classmates want to drink, they could call him. As soon as Mi-rae heard the name Kyung-soo, she immediately thought of her high school friend. She wondered if it was really him. At this time, Hyun-soo also stepped forward to introduce herself, causing the seniors to stare at her without blinking and become very interested in her. Hyun-soo also introduced herself as single and had never dated anyone before. Next, it was Mi-rae's turn to stand up and introduce herself. At this moment, she was a little nervous, and Kyung-soo, who was sitting below, kept staring at her. After all the students introduced themselves, they proceeded to gather in groups. Hyun-soo was a very smart person. She took the initiative to pour drinks for her seniors and classmates. This made everyone applaud. On the other side, thanks to the handsome face, Kyung-soo was also approached and warmly welcomed by the senior female. The seniors asked him if he had a girlfriend, but Kyung-soo refused outright. Mi-rae sat in another group, quietly looking at Kyung-soo. She remembered that year, in high school, Kyung-soo had been also a famous figure and was nicknamed the genius face. She didn't expect that the hot boy and she could study in the same university and even be classmates. Although Mi-rae had become beautiful now, when facing her old classmates, she still felt a little insecure. She didn't know what to say. At this moment, Senior Chan-woo came to Mi-rae's side without invitation. He even put his arm around her shoulder, acting intimately, and even forced her to drink alcohol. Hearing that Mi-rae was still single, he deliberately said in front of everyone that he wanted to be friends with her. Mi-rae didn't know how to answer, so she just kept quiet. It was time for the games. First was the boys' beer drinking contest. Kyung-soo immediately became the center of attention. With an unrivaled alcohol tolerance, he easily won, receiving the enthusiastic applause of the girls. Mi-rae couldn't believe what she saw in front of her. Next was the girls' game, which was to guess the singer. Mi-rae sat to the side, secretly telling her classmates the answers, and all the answers were correct. She was like a walking dictionary. In the third game, each team had to choose one person to go on stage to perform. Also, because of the singer guessing game, Mi-rae was designated as the representative to compete. Although she really wanted to refuse, she was pushed rushed onto the stage in the end. Next was Mirai's performance. As soon as the lights turned on, Mirai's performance began. Mirai's performance excited the whole hall. Her movements were skillful and elegant. Her dancing was very decisive. Even Kyung-suk had a surprised look on his face. He remembered the old days when they were in high school. Mirai had often listened to this song every day. While waiting for the bus, she practiced silently. Kyung-suk felt that the girl in front of him was extremely adorable. As soon as the music ended, the applause continued. None of her classmates knew that when Mirai was in high school, she had seen beautiful girls dancing on the streets. Every day, she could only practice by herself under the bridge. She had thought many times that she wanted to dance like that for everyone to see that she could do it too. She wanted to bring everyone a dance that had never been seen before. Mirai wanted to live a life like everyone else, to be loved and do the things she loved. She finally received everyone's recognition. The dance competition ended. While Mirai was still feeling that all of this was unreal, Senior Chan-woo, who had just been watching her performance, now liked her even more. He started forcing her to drink in front of everyone, even forcing her to drink the cup of wine. This action made Mirai feel uncomfortable, so she found an excuse to run. Outside, Mirai remembered the feeling just now. The classmates who called her name were moved to tears. She had waited for this moment for a long time. At this moment, her mother called her. Mirai told her mother about being welcomed and loved by her classmates. Her mother was also very happy when she heard it. Her daughter could finally live a normal life. Before the surgery, Mirai must have suffered a lot. Now it was considered a reward. On this side, Kyung-suk just sat there drinking. A senior girl sat next to him, staring at him drinking, and the more she looked, the more handsome he seemed. So she couldn't help but flirt with him. But Kyung-suk didn't seem to care. He took the beer can and left. Even though he was rejected, the senior girl still thought Kyung-suk was very cool. When Kyung-suk went out, he saw Hyun-soo waiting for him outside the door. She went up and took the initiative to talk to him. Seeing that Kyung-suk didn't react, Hyun-soo grabbed his sleeve and said she was drunk. Kyung-suk immediately asked the boys if anyone had any hangover medicine. The girl next to him was too drunk. Hearing that, the other male students immediately surrounded Hyun-soo. Kyung-suk left coldly. At this time, Mirai's father was video calling her. Seeing that his daughter seemed unusual, the father immediately asked who she was and where was his daughter. Mirai panicked and said she was going to a school activity. Then, without waiting for her father to continue, she quickly hung up the phone. The father felt a little strange. The girl who just answered the phone had a voice very similar to his daughter, but those big eyes and high nose were really beautiful and did not resemble his daughter. The mother standing next to her said that because of her unattractive appearance, she always felt a lot of pressure at school. But the father said that he thought his daughter was very beautiful. Why did she have to get plastic surgery? It turned out that the mother had not told the father about her daughter's plastic surgery. On this side, Senior Chan-woo was still flirting with Mirai. He handed Mirai a bottle of mineral water and said, "There's a room over there for resting, and there's a sofa. If you're tired, you can go there and lie down for a while." When he was about to take Mirai away, Kyung-suk, standing on the balcony, saw that. As soon as the two of them reached the resting room, Chan-woo asked Mirai to come sit next to him. Mirai refused. She felt that the atmosphere was a bit strange. She was about to turn around and leave when Chan-woo came to block her way. Just as he was about to lock the door, Kyung-suk suddenly barged in. Chan-woo was also pushed to the floor. Seeing his good deed ruined, Chan-woo had no choice to leave in anger. When Mirai was about to leave, Kyung-suk called her back. He asked her if she had gone to the same high school as him. Hearing these words, Mirai started to panic and didn't know what to say because this was her secret. Kyung-suk saw that Mirai did not answer and felt that he might have mistaken her. Thinking back to that time, on a day when it was pouring rain, Kyung-suk had not had an umbrella, so he had to walk in the rain. However, all the male students followed suit because they thought that doing so would make them look more handsome. However, such a perfect character in high school unexpectedly paid attention to a flawed Mirai. Mirai returned home feeling a little worried. If Kyung-suk asked again next time, she would not know how to answer. The next day was the day they officially entered school. Mirai's parents were also holding a bouquet of flowers to look for their daughter at school. The worried mother called her and said that her parents had already arrived at school. While Mirai was thinking about a plan, the father suddenly appeared. The father saw Mirai and felt very familiar. He thought he had talked to her on the phone before and even asked if Mirai had seen his daughter, but the situation was beyond saving. Mirai immediately called out "Dad" twice and admitted that she was Mirai. Seeing this, the father was so shocked that even the flowers in his hand fell to the ground. Right now, he had no way to accept this truth. How could his daughter have secretly gone behind his back to get plastic surgery? He remembered when his daughter was little, he had driven taxi. He had always been careful to take pictures of his daughter, and since then, he discovered that his daughter didn't seem to like taking pictures. But he really didn't understand what was wrong with Mirai. Why did she want to change herself like that? Although her mood was a bit affected, Mirai still went to class as as usual. When she entered the classroom, Chan-woo raised his hand to wave her over. He even saved her a seat. He apologized for what happened a few days ago. After that, he told her to come find him if anything happened in the future. Chan-woo even wanted to ask her out for lunch today. Mireille had no choice but to agree. Hyun-soo was secretly observing all of this. Chan-woo still hadn't given up. He asked Mireille if she could consider dating him. Mireille didn't know what to say, so she made an excuse to go to the bathroom. At this moment, Hyun-soo walked up to Chan-woo and asked him if he was pursuing Mireille. After receiving his answer, Hyun-soo started using divisive words again. She said Chan-woo had to try harder to win Mireille over. She herself was now feeling a little regretful for not accepting to be his girlfriend. Hearing these words, Chan-woo's expression changed. He asked Hyun-soo what she meant. On this side, the senior girl who had been flirting with Kyung-suk a few days ago shamelessly ran to the cafeteria to find him. This senior girl had been sending messages for 3 days straight, but Kyung-suk hadn't replied to a single word. Mireille was currently practicing in the bathroom. She didn't know how to refuse without offending her senior. Chan-woo, on the other hand, had changed his attitude. He said that he was just joking. It was his fault for not being clear-headed, and that it would be better for the two of them to be friends from now on. As Chan-woo was about to leave, Kyung-suk, who was sitting nearby, suddenly stuck out his foot, causing him to trip and fall to the floor. When Chan-woo was about to throw a punch at Kyung-suk's handsome face, he easily dodged it. Then he tried to punch Kyung-suk again, but slipped and fell to the ground. Mireille ran up to stop Chan-woo, but was pushed down by him. Just like that, Mireille fell straight into Kyung-suk's arms. Kyung-suk's heart was beating wildly, but he was very clever, not touching her waist. Chan-woo couldn't do anything. He could only leave. At this time, Mireille just realized that she was leaning on Kyung-suk's arms. She was so embarrassed that she quickly left, while Kyung-suk cleaned up the dishes on the ground. Unexpectedly, he saw a bottle of perfume that Mireille had dropped. The next day, the fight in the cafeteria spread to the other students. This made Hyun-soo extremely angry. A moment later, Chan-woo went to Hyun-soo. He said that in fact, since the opening day of school, he had liked Hyun-soo. It was just that he felt embarrassed, so he didn't dare to show it. But at this moment, Hyun-soo had no expression at all. She said that she needed a few days to think. On this side, Mireille was a little angry. She didn't expect that Chan-woo always said that liking her was just a joke. But what Mireille didn't expect was that Kyung-suk would stand up to protect her. While Mireille was lost in thought, Hyun-soo came over. She already knew about the fight that happened in the cafeteria. Hyun-soo asked Mireille if she liked that senior Chan-woo. After receiving a negative answer, Hyun-soo started to badmouth Chan-woo again. It was said that he was a terrible person with a questionable character. Luckily, Mireille didn't like him. After that, Hyun-soo held Mireille's hand and said to her, "From now on, they will be good friends. She will always be by Mireille's side." Since entering university, Mireille still hasn't had a single close friend, so Mireille felt extremely warm inside. However, the practical class had already started. The two of them hurriedly pulled each other into the classroom. The teacher said to draw lots to choose practice group. Just like that, Mireille and Hyun-soo were assigned to the same group. Coincidentally, Kyung-suk also became a member of the group. The teacher informed them that they now needed to elect a group leader. Hyun-soo started to scheme secretly and said to vote for Mireille as the group leader. But this time, Kyung-suk did not agree and nominated himself to be the group leader. When Kyung-suk was buying a soft drink at the vending machine, Hyun-soo deliberately walked up to her and started flirting. She said that she also really liked drinking this type of carbonated drink. After that, Hyun-soo asked Kyung-suk to buy her a can, but Kyung-suk did not pay any attention to this scheming girl. After that, he walked in front of Mireille and said that he had something to say. Hyun-soo saw this scene and started to get jealous and frustrated. At this time, Kyung-suk handed Mireille the bottle of perfume, and he asked her the same question again. Kyung-suk still remembered the bus stop, still remembered the smell of this perfume. It seemed that she could no longer avoid it. Mireille begged Kyung-suk not to tell anyone about her previous face. At this moment, a friend ran to find Kyung-suk. Mireille saw Kyung-suk's departing back and immediately remembered her high school days. When Kyung-suk smelled the perfume on Mireille, he told her not to wear perfume from now on. Thinking back now, wasn't her college life about to fall apart? But Mireille still felt very strange. Why did Kyung-suk remember that she used this perfume? At this time, Kyung-suk had gone to the bar of a close friend of his. The friend was preparing to hold a welcoming party for the new students of the chemistry department, so he called Kyung-suk to help. While the two were talking, Woo-jin mentioned the girl who was talking to Kyung-suk earlier. He asked Kyung-suk if she had started dating girls. The next day, all the chemistry students came to the party. A group of men and women sat together and started eating and drinking. They played a game that Mireille had lost twice in a row. Therefore, she was punished by drinking a lot of alcohol. In the third round, the losers were Mireille and Kyung-suk. Everyone started shouting and cheering enthusiastically for the two of them to drink together. But Kyung-suk had already finished his cup. Then, he even drank a cup for Mireille. At this point, everyone felt that something was fishy between the two. The game continued, and this time, the loser was Hyun-soo. She said that she couldn't drink alcohol. Then, she deliberately glanced at Kyung-suk. At this moment, a classmate suddenly appeared, picked up cup, and helped Hyun-soo finish the glass of wine. After that classmate even stood in front of everyone and confessed to Hyun-soo. In the end, he was rejected by her. That classmate was heartbroken and immediately stood up and left. The other classmates were all admired Hyun-soo and asked if, growing up so pretty and adorable, she had received many love confessions from boys. However, Hyun-soo immediately put on a fake modest act, saying she wasn't beautiful at all and had never undergone plastic surgery. Then, she dragged Mi-rae into the conversation. She said that someone like Mi-rae was beautiful as a doll. When the atmosphere was extremely tense, Kyung-suk appeared and questioned Hyun-soo about what she meant by that. At this time, Hyun-soo pretended to be innocent again, asking if she had done something wrong. Kyung-suk asked her if she really didn't know anything. Hyun-soo acted pitiful again, pretending to be heartbroken and shed tears. Then she stood up and left. This was supposed to be a fun party, but because of these things, the atmosphere just fell apart. Then Hyun-soo went to Mi-rae to apologize. She said she really didn't know, otherwise things wouldn't have turned out this bad. She really didn't mean to target Mi-rae and begged Mi-rae not to be angry. But at this moment, Chan-woo took the opportunity to comfort Hyun-soo. He asked her if she wanted to date. Hyun-soo explained that she was now Mi-rae's best friend. How could she date a man her best friend liked? Chan-woo was about to explain when Hyun-soo stood up and left. After that, he went to find Mi-rae in a very angry manner. Chan-woo asked her if she liked him. If she didn't like him, then why did she say those words to Hyun-soo? Did she want to ruin his good thing? Mi-rae didn't care about this crazy guy. When she was about to turn around and leave, Chan-woo warned her again. There were a lot of people like her in his hometown. Mi-rae was nothing more than a beauty monster. Hearing these words, Mi-rae was extremely angry. After that, she left sadly. But when Mi-rae was walking and crying, Kyung-suk accidentally saw her, so he secretly followed behind. Mi-rae was hurt. She sat down in front of the convenience store, tears falling non-stop. When Mi-rae was in despair, the teaching assistant came. Seeing Mi-rae with her head down on her legs, the teaching assistant immediately thought that she was drunk. The teaching assistant was about to get her a bottle of water when Mi-rae suddenly remembered Chan-woo. He had also given her a bottle of mineral water before. These actions were all seen by Kyung-suk, who was walking over. He immediately grabbed Mi-rae's hand and pulled her away, but he didn't expect to be stopped by the teaching assistant. How could he so casually try to take someone away right in front of teacher? The tension between the two men was extremely high. Mi-rae saw this and shook Kyung-suk's hand away. After that, she bowed her head to thank teaching assistant and left alone. After the party ended, Hyun-soo was taken home by the male students. Looking at the villa in front of them, the classmates exclaimed. Hyun-soo was not only beautiful and cute, but she could also live in such a luxurious place. An hour later, Hyun-soo looked at the time on her phone screen. After making sure that there were no male students standing there, she walked out of the villa alone. She sat at the bus stop. At this time, Mi-rae went to find her best friend Hyun-jung. She painfully told Hyun-jung about that bastard senior Chan-woo. He dared to call her a plastic surgery monster, making her feel very sad right now. Other people can live happily. What's wrong with her wanting to do the same? After that, Mi-rae also told the things that Hyun-soo said. Hyun-jung angrily cursed Hyun-soo. How could she ask Mi-rae if she had surgery in front of everyone like that? She really was a cruel person. Mi-rae negotiated with Hyun-jung. If someone asked her that question in the future, she would answer that she only fixed her eyes and nose. Hyun-jung was really angry on behalf of her best friend. Why would someone be so nosy? Right now, Mi-rae was feeling very sad. The next day, Hyun-soo went to see Won-ho, the guy who had confessed to her at the party yesterday. Even though Hyun-soo didn't like Won-ho, no one could compare to her in terms of flattery. How could naive young boys avoid such seductive words? After that, Hyun-soo went to Kyung-suk. She asked if there was any misunderstanding between them. Hyun-soo explained that she had apologized to Mi-rae last night. She really did it by accident. Mi-rae looked so beautiful that she never thought Mi-rae had plastic surgery. At this moment, Kyung-suk asked back if she really didn't know Mi-rae had plastic surgery, then why did she ask about it in front of so many people? Hyun-soo started to act innocent again and said that she was very stupid. Sometimes she didn't think about it before saying it. Kyung-suk said again, if she said it without thinking, then why did she praise her senior Chan-woo for being handsome? After saying that, he stood up and left. And the other classmates who saw Hyun-soo and Kyung-suk sitting and talking together thought that they were talking about love. And for the misunderstandings of her classmates, Hyun-soo didn't explain. When Mi-rae went to school, she felt that the other classmates were constantly looking at her. She thought that she was just a beauty who had plastic surgery. Mi-rae felt extremely self-conscious. When she was in class, Mi-rae was always in a state of distraction. At this time, Kyung-suk came and sat next to her. As soon as class ended, Mi-rae called Kyung-suk out to talk about what happened yesterday. Maybe Hyun-soo just said it by accident. Maybe she really didn't know that Mireille had plastic surgery. Of course, Mireille also knew that her current face could be seen very clearly. Kyung-suk asked her why she had surgery. Mireille said that it wasn't because she was greedy, but her high school face truly wasn't something that should be seen by others. She had no other choice. At this moment, Kyung-suk felt a bit angry. Was there really a rule in this world dictating what kind of face was acceptable to be seen by others? Which faces had to be fixed? His words carried a hint of annoyance. This made Mireille very upset. What did her way of thinking have to do with Kyung-suk? And at this moment, Kyung-suk also realized that his previous words were a bit general. Right at that moment, the senior Chan-woo sent them a message, instructing all the freshmen to gather in front of the restroom. He then ordered all the female students to leave, leaving Mireille alone with the boys. He began mocking her, calling her a Gangnam beauty, and asking if she really thought she was truly beautiful. Then, he walked up, grabbed her by the collar, and was about to teach her a lesson. At this moment, Kyung-suk jumped up and kicked Chan-woo. He wanted to grab a mop and hit Kyung-suk, but Kyung-suk easily caught him. After that, he dragged Chan-woo into the restroom. The story of Kyung-suk fighting in the restroom with the seniors started to become a topic of discussion throughout the school. In an instant, Kyung-suk became a celebrity again. At this time, other classmates also came to comfort Mireille. That senior was not a good person either. Now, he had also been taught a lesson by Kyung-suk. They advised Mireille not to think about it anymore. Mireille saw such a kind classmate, but she had scored their faces countless times before. She felt that she had gone too far. Then, Hyun-soo also put on a fake face to comfort her. Hyun-soo said that Chan-woo treated Mireille like that because she had rejected him, so Chan-woo came to Mireille to cause trouble. She didn't expect things to turn out like this. Then, she started to imply that Kyung-suk publicly defended Mireille. In front of everyone, Hyun-soo felt that he was very special to Mireille. Then, she asked if they were dating. Receiving Mireille's answer of no, Hyun-soo started asking about the party last time. Didn't Kyung-suk also stand up to protect her? Could it be that he secretly likes Mireille? Mireille said that how could this be? If Kyung-suk had any interest in her, it must be because they had gone to the same high school before. Hearing that they went to the same high school, Hyun-soo caught the main point. It turned out that the two of them had this kind of relationship. On this side, the teaching assistant also knew about the fight between the senior Chan-woo, so he called him to the office to warn him. The teaching assistant told him to be a little more obedient in the future. Otherwise, after graduating from university, he wouldn't receive any recommendation from the professor. The next day, Mireille went to the school campus and saw Kyung-suk. Both of them felt a little embarrassed, but unexpectedly, they both asked each other at the same time. So the two of them went to the self-service cafeteria. Mireille said that she would treat. She originally wanted to order sweet and sour pork ribs, but because she was nervous, she ordered sweet and sour pork. On this side, Hyun-soo was going around talking about many things. She told everyone that Mireille and Kyung-suk went to the same high school. A male student said that it was no wonder Kyung-suk always protected Mireille. On Mireille's side, she felt guilty towards Kyung-suk. It was obvious that he didn't like sweet and sour pork ribs, but now he had to try to eat it. Mireille blamed herself, but Kyung-suk said it was okay, and he found it quite delicious. The atmosphere between the two of them was a bit warmer. Mireille thanked Kyung-suk for always helping her during this time. Mireille knew she shouldn't secretly rate other people's faces, and someone as handsome as Kyung-suk wouldn't understand the lives of people like her. Kyung-suk also apologized that he was too much. Looking at Kyung-suk's affectionate eyes, Mireille felt a little embarrassed for a moment. After school, Mireille went to see her best friend, Hyun-jung. Mireille told her about her conversation with Kyung-suk today. While they were talking, Mireille suddenly received a text message. She had applied to be a perfume tester online before. Unexpectedly, both girls were selected. They were going to meet world-famous perfumers. The next day, a female student told Kyung-suk that she heard that he and Mireille were high school classmates. Kyung-suk asked back and received the answer that Hyun-soo told them. During the practical class, a teaching assistant reminded the female students with long hair to tie it up neatly. Hyun-soo, in front of everyone, showed the most beautiful posture to tie her hair up. This action attracted the eyes of all the male students in the class. Even Mireille was stunned by Hyun-soo. Only Kyung-suk remained calm and did not pay any attention. During the experiment, Mireille accidentally got burned, but the teaching assistant was strangely attentive to her. Hyun-soo saw this and started to perform again. She said that she wanted to clean up the experimental products. However, when Mireille handed her the test tube, Hyun-soo pretended that she was not holding it firmly, so the test tube fell on her knee. At this time, the teaching assistant reminded her to quickly go to the infirmary. Mireille just saw a piece of broken glass on the ground. When she was about to pick it up with her hand, luckily, the teaching assistant caught up and grabbed Mireille's hand. After treating her wound, Hyun-soo deliberately went to see Kyung-suk, pretending to thank him for helping her clean up the broken pieces. Kyung-suk pretended not to care about her. Hyun-suk went to the cafeteria to find Mireille and asked if she was sure she broke the test tube. Mi-rae said she did. Kyung-suk was helpless and left. As for Mi-rae, while eating, she clearly remembered that Hyun-soo was holding the test tube tightly. But as soon as she turned away, the test tube in Hyun-soo's hand fell. This was clearly intentional. That night, Mi-rae and Hyun-jung attended an event because Mi-rae had previously won a ticket to attend by participating in a perfume creation contest. Here, Mi-rae coincidentally met teaching assistant. The teaching assistant introduced the two to the director of a new perfume company. Mi-rae intended to go over and talk to the director because she seemed familiar, but there were always people around her. Mi-rae had to stand in a corner. At this time, the director took the initiative to talk to her and praised Mi-rae's talent for making perfume. When the party was almost over, the teaching assistant wanted to invite Mi-rae to a meal, but she refused. At this time, Mi-rae called the teaching assistant back, apologizing for the last time he helped her, and she even splashed water on him, but the teaching assistant didn't pay any attention to it and told Mi-rae not to mind. After that, the director came to chat and Mi-rae decided to go for a walk with her. The two of them went to a bar near the school. While Mi-rae and the director were chatting, Kyung-suk also came here. Although he wasn't sitting near the door, Kyung-suk saw Mi-rae as soon as he entered. Kyung-suk looked at the director, the smile on his lips gradually fading. Mi-rae was about to introduce the two of them to each other when Kyung-suk immediately asked why she was here. The director also stood up, looking at Kyung-suk affectionately. It turned out that the director was Kyung-suk's mother. Judging by Kyung-suk's reaction, the two of them had something going on. The next day in class, Kyung-suk put on a cold face and didn't bother to talk to anyone. Kyung-suk was waiting for Mi-rae to arrive, but when Mi-rae arrived, she didn't even glance at him. Since she didn't want to talk, he had to speak first. Kyung-suk sat next to Mi-rae and said that they had something to talk about. During the break, Kyung-suk asked why Mi-rae was with his mother. Mi-rae explained that there was also the teaching assistant there, and that he introduced Kyung-suk's mother as a senior. Kyung-suk was upset that Mi-rae agreed to go with someone she had only met once. After that, he told Mi-rae not to say that the director was his mother. As soon as Mi-rae opened her mouth to say that she wouldn't, Kyung-suk immediately refuted her. He brought up the fact that she had told him not to tell anyone that they went to high school together, but she had said it first. Mi-rae explained that it was her business and that it had no effect on him. The next day in the library, the senior deliberately noticed and sat near Kyung-suk. She flattered him, saying that she had a set of books that taught good learning knowledge from her seniors, and she wanted to lend it to Kyung-suk. Unfortunately, Kyung-suk didn't care. He made an excuse to go eat and then left. That night, Kyung-suk was sad because of the incident with Mi-rae. He went to a bar to drink to drown his sorrows. Kyung-suk's face was cold to the whole world. He didn't even pay attention to talking to his best friend. When his best friend asked him to put his phone out to see if there were any messages, Kyung-suk reluctantly looked at his phone. Sure enough, there was a message from Mi-rae asking him to meet tomorrow. After reading that message, Kyung-suk's face immediately brightened up. At the same time, Mi-rae and Hyun-jung were on their way back. This time it was no longer a feeling. Mi-rae clearly saw a shady person following her for a long time. When discovered, the other person immediately ran away. Mi-rae did not intend to let him go. She had to catch him to see who dared to follow her these past few days. With her long legs, Mi-rae ran down a few streets. Finally, she caught up with the stalker. At this time, two police officers also arrived at Hyun-jung's call and subdued the stalker, escorting him to the police station. The stalker turned out to be a boy. He said that he had just met Mi-rae for the first time and thought she was a celebrity, so he wanted to follow her and become a fan. Because she was a generous person, Mi-rae let the boy go when he apologized. At this time, Mi-rae's father heard the news and immediately ran over to see who dared to follow his beloved daughter. Everything was clear. It was Mi-rae's father who always followed her because he was afraid that she would be in danger if she was late. The next day, Kyung-suk went to the rooftop to meet Mi-rae, as he had been told. Unexpectedly, she took the initiative to invite him out for a few drinks. At the bar, Mi-rae and Kyung-suk shared with each other the hidden struggles in their relationships with their families. They also understood each other better. Kyung-suk also said that in his entire middle school life, he had only laughed once because of Mi-rae. On the way home, Mi-rae was walking unsteadily because she had drunk too much. Seeing her almost running out into the street, Kyung-suk grabbed Mi-rae's hand and pulled her closer to him. Mi-rae stood still, waiting for Kyung-suk to do something to her next. But Kyung-suk didn't know how to seize the opportunity. It was just that Kyung-suk's previous concern was enough to make Mi-rae's little heart flutter. The next day, just looking at Kyung-suk drinking water, Mi-rae found him both cool and handsome, to the point that she stood there staring until Kyung-suk found out and she shyly left. Hearing that Kyung-suk was going to be a waitress at the upcoming school festival, Hyun-soo immediately agreed to join. She even showed interest and asked the recruiter to let Mi-rae join too. In class, she also tried to bring this up again and said that if Mi-rae didn't join, everyone would have a hard time. This made Mi-rae think and agree. agree. That night, physics teaching assistant Woo Young invited Hyun Jung out for a drink for helping find a new place to stay, and even invited Mi-rae along. Unexpectedly, the bar they chose was Kyung-suk's best friend's bar. Just when Kyung-suk came to see if he could help, he saw Mi-rae there. Seeing Mi-rae drinking with a strange guy, Kyung-suk went to their table and asked what Mi-rae was doing. In the end, Kyung-suk decided to sit down and drink with her to see what the teaching assistant was planning to do with Mi-rae. Very quickly, the day of the festival arrived. Because she agreed to help serve, Mi-rae was given a uniform with a skirt that seemed a bit short. Mi-rae didn't like it very much, but Hyun-soo showed concern and said that if Mi-rae didn't like it, she shouldn't wear it. With no other choice, Mi-rae finally agreed to wear the skirt to help serve. On the evening of the festival, because she had been helping all day, Mi-rae felt a bit tired and asked for a break. Kyung-suk asked if Mi-rae was okay because her face didn't look happy. Mi-rae just said she needed to rest a bit. At this moment, Hyun-soo acted friendly and took Mi-rae's arm and pulled her away. Finally, the guy from her first love also knew Mi-rae's identity. Mi-rae was about to leave when he deliberately called her back to tease her. He brought up the past to insult her, causing Mi-rae to scream angrily, attracting everyone's attention. The shameless guy even mocked Mi-rae. He said that he thought that just being pretty would be enough, but Mi-rae didn't intend to let him say whatever he wanted. She admitted it and realized that people like him weren't worth mentioning. He hadn't changed at all, and yet he dared to insult other people's appearances. To her, he was just trash. Having said that, Mi-rae was about to turn away when she saw Kyung-suk standing behind her. Mi-rae sat down sadly, while Hyun-soo acted friendly and comforted her. She even apologized and admitted that it was her fault that things turned out like this. But in the end, she said that she had no prejudice against people who had plastic surgery like Mi-rae. After that, she even acted friendly and sympathetic towards Mi-rae in front of Kyung-suk, and she was the one who brought her first love here, so that he could insult Mi-rae like that. Hyun-soo said that she didn't do it on purpose, and that Mi-rae wasn't that ugly. On the evening of the second day of the festival, Mi-rae had just separated from Hyun-jung when Hyun-soo approached her to talk. She seemed worried about Mi-rae because of yesterday's incident, and Mi-rae, according to Hyun-jung's guess that Hyun-soo knew that she and the boy from her first love went to the same middle school, so she intentionally invited him to make things difficult for Mi-rae. Unexpectedly asked, Hyun-soo's face didn't change, saying that she didn't know. She acted innocent, saying that everything was just a misunderstanding. After that, Mi-rae was also dragged into a blind date game. At this time, from afar, Kyung-suk saw it and joined in. The matchmaker said that he would give the 6 people 10 minutes to get to know each other and then pair them up, but Kyung-suk asked if he could directly decide. At this time, Hyun-soo thought that Kyung-suk chose her, but unexpectedly, he pointed at Mi-rae. While Mi-rae was confused, a friend, who also participated in the pairing quickly, thought of a way to wet Mi-rae's shirt so that she would go with Kyung-suk. At this time, Hyun-soo also stood up and rushed to follow Mi-rae to the changing room. Looking at Hyun-soo's face, it was obvious that she couldn't trust him. Mi-rae still chose to go with Kyung-suk. While Mi-rae and Kyung-suk were looking for their shirts in the room, someone accidentally locked the door from the outside. Mi-rae wanted to call for help, but no one answered. Kyung-suk had left his phone at the bell pairing place earlier, but when Kyung-suk's screen showed a call from Mi-rae, Hyun-soo didn't even bother to pick up the phone. First, Mi-rae should change out of her wet shirt. Kyung-suk kindly turned his back, walked far away, and told Mi-rae to tell him when she was done changing. Mi-rae was shy, so she kept hugging her shirt tightly, not daring to change. She was also in a state of mind, thinking about the two of them being stuck on a deserted island and staying in the same room. Then, Mi-rae said that Kyung-suk would come back in 30 minutes. Kyung-suk didn't agree, so Mi-rae shortened it to 10 minutes. She said she didn't want Kyung-suk to know when she changed her clothes. Kyung-suk was running out of patience, so he gave her 20 seconds to change. Then, Kyung-suk counted, making Mi-rae frantically change her clothes so quickly that she put them on backwards without realizing it. When Mi-rae came back, Kyung-suk was still standing there. He had no intention of doing anything. He counted just so that Mi-rae could quickly change her clothes. After that, the two of them could only wait for someone to open the door. Kyung-suk also directly said that Mi-rae was cute. He even said that he liked her, making the atmosphere a bit awkward. Luckily, at this moment, the seniors walked in. Kyung-suk also said that he finally had a friend, which was Mi-rae, making her extremely confused. Mi-rae and Kyung-suk went out, and it was also the time for fireworks. From afar, Hyun-soo clearly saw Kyung-suk's infatuated eyes looking at Mi-rae, the eyes that Kyung-suk had never seen in her entire life. Kyung-suk's proactive attack made Mi-rae confused, and she ended up taking the wrong bus. The next day, news about Kyung-suk's family situation spread in class. It was Hyun-soo's good friend who made it. Since Hyun-soo wanted to return Kyung-suk's phone, he thought she was the one who spread the news. After finding out the truth, Kyung-suk went to apologize to Hyun-soo. Seeing that, she asked Kyung-suk to take her to the dinner party so that everyone would misunderstand that she and Kyung-suk were a real couple. But then, Kyung-suk soon left the boring party because he received a call from Mi-rae that his mother was hospitalized. After a long time, Kyung-suk finally sat down and talked to his mother again. The two confided in each other to understand each other better. Kyung-suk also forgave his mother for leaving before. When he returned home, Kyung-suk had a fight with his father because he was so angry when he found out that everything that happened to his mother was caused by his father. Kyung-suk went to stay at his best friend's house for a while. At this time, Mi-rae had also completely reconciled with her father. Her father came to school to pick her up to have dinner together. After that, they went to karaoke until late at night. Her father had not been angry with her for a long time. He was just too shy to say it. In the end, he was able to say that no matter what, she would always be his beloved daughter. At the housewarming party at the teaching assistant's house, while everyone thought that Kyung-suk wouldn't come, he slowly carried in a large TV, saying that it was a housewarming gift for the teaching assistant, making everyone stunned. It's true that rich people are generous when giving gifts. Kyung-suk intended to show off his skill at cutting grilled meat, but a young master like him had never had to do this before. He cut the meat like he was making noodles. In the end, luckily, the teaching assistant took back the scissors and saved the meat. Otherwise, it would have been crushed before it even reached his mouth. Kyung-suk really didn't know how to start a conversation. Every sentence he said would lead to a dead end. Luckily, Hyun-jung saw the guitar and asked the teaching assistant to play a song for everyone. Kyung-suk saw Mi-rae enjoying it and looked at the teaching assistant and smiled foolishly. Kyung-suk was a bit jealous. He wanted her to only smile at him. When the party was over, when everyone was cleaning up, Kyung-suk also helped Mi-rae wash the dishes, but he doesn't even know how to open an oil bottle, so how can he help? Seeing that the atmosphere between the two of them was a bit awkward, the teaching assistant started to give advice on writing a report. The longer the better. Writing longer would get them a higher score. Mi-rae understood as soon as she heard it and immediately thanked him. However, Kyung-suk broke the happy atmosphere by saying that he knew about it too, which stunned everyone. The next day, when Kyung-suk was in the library, Hyun-soo deliberately came to talk to him and asked what book he was reading. Seeing that Kyung-suk didn't care about her, Hyun-soo even had the illusion that she and Kyung-suk had become friends after he brought her to the party. Hyun-soo invited Kyung-suk to go to the movies with her, but Kyung-suk immediately refused. After school, Mi-rae went to the cinema and saw Kyung-suk had been waiting for her for a long time. From this angle, Kyung-suk was really handsome, so handsome that it made Mi-rae stare blankly. Suddenly, Kyung-suk looked over and spotted her, causing Mi-rae to react unnaturally. She asked him which movie he wanted to see, but Kyung-suk had already decided and bought tickets. He went ahead and took her to the counter to buy popcorn. When the staff said a combo cost 85,000 won, they both took out their wallets, and the staff took the money from Kyung-suk's wallet. Mi-rae wondered why Kyung-suk gave her the money, but then Mi-rae split the money in half and gave it back to Kyung-suk. Kyung-suk said no need, but Mi-rae didn't understand what he meant. She also said that friends usually had to split it evenly. This made Kyung-suk a little sad. He clearly wanted to invite her to see a movie. The movie Kyung-suk chose was a youth school movie. While watching the movie, Mi-rae kept staring at Kyung-suk. After a moment of being absent-minded, Mi-rae calmed down. When Kyung-suk asked Mi-rae if she didn't eat popcorn, her mind immediately went into overdrive. She imagined the scenario of the two of them accidentally touching hands and Kyung-suk feeding her popcorn, looking very affectionate. But reality is often cruel. Mi-rae realized that she had gone a bit overboard. She even thought of a way to avoid contact accidents by using straws as chopsticks. This was truly beyond Kyung-suk's imagination. Afterwards, Kyung-suk took Mi-rae out to eat. While Mi-rae was choosing her dishes, Kyung-suk only paid attention to the price of the dishes. In his head, there was a calculation. There was currently 37,000 won left. Luckily, Mi-rae chose a dish that cost 11,000 won, so Kyung-suk's worries were resolved. Choosing a cheap drink also reduced the loss of the meal to 30,000 won. After finishing the meal, when paying, Mi-rae still wanted to split the bill, but Kyung-suk asked why she didn't split the bill when she ate Woo-young's meat. She didn't pay back then, but now she's asking to pay back. Mi-rae was a little surprised, but the two things weren't the same. At that time, it was the teaching assistant who invited her. Kyung-suk didn't see it that way. He said he was the one who suggested going to the movies and dinner, but he didn't expect it to rain. Kyung-suk only had 7,000 won left, so the two of them bought an umbrella and went to the bus stop together with the only umbrella. To keep both of them from getting wet, Mi-rae had to stay close to Kyung-suk. In the end, they walked together all the way to Mi-rae's house. Mi-rae felt that she couldn't see Kyung-suk as a normal male friend anymore. Obviously, Kyung-suk's gentle advances had gradually moved Mi-rae. The next day, Mi-rae saw Kyung-suk sitting on a bench. She immediately turned away and told herself to keep distance from Kyung-suk. At this time, Hyun-soo approached Kyung-suk, asking him if the movie yesterday was fun. Seeing that he didn't pay attention to her, Hyun-soo sat down next to him. Immediately, Kyung-suk stood up, said he had something to do, and and left, leaving Hyun-soo sitting there, bewildered. Because he found the post that the teaching assistant was looking for a roommate, Kyung-sok came to find him and wanted to move in together. But Kyung-sok didn't feel shy. He didn't have any money, so he said that he considered the TV as the first month's rent. The teaching assistant immediately guessed that Kyung-sok had run away from home, but when he asked, Kyung-sok didn't feel shy. He didn't have any money, so he said that he insisted that he was living on his own. In the end, the teaching assistant agreed to let Kyung-sok stay at a cheap price, on the condition that he had to do all the housework. The next day, Kyung-sok moved into the same house as the teaching assistant. From upstairs, Kyung-sok saw the teaching assistant talking and laughing happily with Mi-rae's parents. A moment later, the teaching assistant came up. The two of them divided and agreed on how to live together. Mi-rae also brought the teaching assistant some food that her mother had cooked and sent over. In particular, her mother told her to bring it over to the teaching assistant. There, she met Kyung-sok and also knew that he had moved out. That's why he came to be the teaching assistant's roommate. That night, Kyung-sok went to take out the trash and saw Mi-rae there too. Because Mi-rae was caught standing in front of the trash can, Kyung-sok deliberately reached over her to throw it away. After that, Mi-rae told Kyung-sok to wait until she finished throwing it away before he threw it out. So Kyung-sok went to sort the cans first. Unexpectedly, she stepped on the can and almost fell. She accidentally fell right on Kyung-sok. The two of them looked at each other. Mi-rae shyly said she was fine and was about to leave. Seeing her limping, Kyung-sok even carefully checked to see if her leg was okay. When Mi-rae left, Kyung-sok even said he would see her again later. Kyung-sok's thoughtful actions made it impossible for Mi-rae to sleep that night. From today on, Kyung-sok had to start adapting to an independent life. He was sighing because everything was expensive. Kyung-sok accidentally saw a 100 coin on the ground. This 100 coin would help him for a few days. But before he could pick it up, he heard Hyun-jung calling him. Kyung-sok could only lie that he was standing here waiting for them. He couldn't let Mi-rae see him picking up money on the street. Kyung-sok had no choice but to starve. He was trying to sleep to forget his hunger when the teaching assistant called. The teaching assistant invited him for a free meal. Hearing that, Kyung-sok immediately got up and went to the cafeteria. When it was time for class, Kyung-sok was listening attentively to the lecture when Hyun-soo came. She naturally started talking to Kyung-sok as if they were very familiar with each other. She also asked Kyung-sok to show her how to solve the problem. At that moment, Mi-rae also entered the classroom and saw Kyung-sok sitting with Hyun-soo. This made Mi-rae a little sad. She stood there absent-mindedly until Kyung-sok turned around and called her. Kyung-sok even cleared a spot for Mi-rae to sit next to him. Her classmates even joked that Kyung-sok and Hyun-soo were very compatible, like two people living in a parallel world, and said they were dating. Although Hyun-soo really wanted to do so, she still had to pretend. Kyung-sok only turned to look at Mi-rae. When Mi-rae was standing dejectedly under the stairs, she blurted out Kyung-sok's name. Suddenly he appeared, startling her. Kyung-sok thought Mi-rae was waiting for him, but she said she was waiting to meet someone. Kyung-sok asked if it was teaching assistant Woo Young, but Mi-rae didn't answer. Kyung-sok continued to ask if she liked him. Mi-rae was confused and didn't know how to answer. Just then, the director arrived. At this time, Kyung-sok realized that Mi-rae was waiting for his mother, not the teaching assistant. After that, the three of them went to eat. Because he had been starving for so long, Kyung-sok ate like he was about to starve to death, leaving both the director and Mi-rae stunned. Kyung-sok even wanted to call Woo Jin, his best friend, to come over. After eating, as soon as they went out the door, they saw Woo Young also coming back. So, the four of them went to Woo Young's house to continue drinking. Looking at the director's smile, Mi-rae thought she was the happiest person today, because finally, she could return to normal with Kyung-sok. And looking at Kyung-sok, he was equally happy. After thinking for a while, Mi-rae was completely drunk. Both Kyung-sok and Woo Young fought to carry Mi-rae home, and the director chose to put Mi-rae on Kyung-sok's shoulder. This was the first time Kyung-sok had set foot in Mi-rae's room. The next day, Kyung-sok deliberately waited for Mi-rae to go to school together. He also carefully prepared hangover medicine for Mi-rae. She said that she didn't need it, but Kyung-sok said that wasn't her limit of 3 drinks. Then Kyung-sok peeled the medicine and put it in Mi-rae's hand. After that, the two of them took the bus to school. On the bus, Mi-rae met the boy who had followed her before. Seeing that Mi-rae was close to the boy and even remembered each other's names, Kyung-sok was jealous and forced the boy to remember his name too. When the boy asked who he was, Kyung-sok immediately said that he was Mi-rae's boyfriend. Mi-rae asked why he lied to the boy, but he was very calm. In chemistry class, Mi-rae kept thinking about times Kyung-sok tried to show his attention to her. This made her suspect that Kyung-sok had feelings for her. Kyung-sok looked at Mi-rae with affectionate eyes. After class, everyone made the report which Hyun-soo had lost. While everyone was searching, with his genius memory, Kyung-sok rewrote another version in front of the admiring eyes of the people around. When Kyung-sok stood up to submit the report, Hyun-soo deliberately insisted on following him. Seeing this, Mi-rae suddenly felt a little jealous. Hyun-soo followed Kyung-sok wherever she she went. Even when Kyung-sok went out to eat, she wanted to sit at the same table. She even showed sympathy, as if she and Kyung-sok were in the same situation. It was just a pity that Kyung-sok didn't see it that way. At this time, Mi-rae was also eating with Woo Young. He asked her if she wasn't dating anyone, but Mi-rae didn't pay much attention to that. She also said that her face had been fixed in many places. Contrary to Mi-rae's thoughts, Woo Young didn't care that she had had plastic surgery. He even told her that she had had surgery to become more beautiful. Wasn't it great that she was beautiful now? This statement made Mi-rae very emotional. She had never thought like that before, and always thought that people would discriminate against people who had plastic surgery. After lunch, Kyung-suk caught Mi-rae walking home with Woo Young, making him a little jealous. The good thing was that Hyun-soo was still there. She obviously knew, but still deliberately asked to make Mi-rae say that she had dinner with Woo Young. Hearing Mi-rae say that she was close to Woo Young because they lived in the same neighborhood, Kyung-suk was extremely jealous. He asked to go home with Mi-rae. After that, Kyung-suk and Mi-rae went to an interview and got a part-time job at an interior design company as a marketer. The next day, when he heard that Kyung-suk and Mi-rae worked at the same place, Woo Young was worried and deliberately told Kyung-suk to go home early to clean the house, avoiding him having to interact with Mi-rae too much. Just then, the director brought food and saved Kyung-suk from having to clean the house. At work, Kyung-suk's younger sister came, and the three of them had lunch together. Seeing Kyung-suk carefully cutting meat for his younger sister, Mi-rae couldn't help but smile. She saw that Kyung-suk really pampered his younger sister. When Mi-rae expressed her thoughts, Kyung-suk calmly told her that she could call him Oppa. Hearing that, Mi-rae felt embarrassed. After work, Kyung-suk and Mi-rae went to the supermarket to buy things. Kyung-suk also invited Mi-rae to his house for dinner, saying that he had invited her to dinner because she had helped him find a job. Mi-rae wanted to use Hyun-jung to refuse, but Kyung-suk told her to call Hyun-jung too. This time, Kyung-suk's meat cutting skills had improved. He was much more proficient than last time, but what Kyung-suk cared about was Mi-rae. But she agreed and praised Woo Young for his good cooking skills. Being petty, Kyung-suk brought up Woo Young's drinking capacity of 2 glasses of wine. The two argued for a while. Hyun-jung suggested arm wrestling to decide. Kyung-suk and Woo Young were almost evenly matched. The two of them struggled back and forth for a while, and in the end, Kyung-suk was exhausted and lost to Woo Young. Even though Mi-rae comforted him, how could Kyung-suk be happy? To put it bluntly, he was sulking. When Mi-rae left, he didn't even bother to reply. Hyun-soo suddenly called Mi-rae, saying that she was bored and wanted to meet Mi-rae on Monday to talk. On Monday morning, when Mi-rae arrived at school, she received a text message from Hyun-soo asking where she was. Hyun-soo asked about work and asked to work together. Then she said that she liked Kyung-suk and asked Mi-rae to help her. Hyun-soo deliberately said that Mi-rae didn't help her because Mi-rae liked Kyung-suk. Mi-rae just thought, couldn't she like Kyung-suk? Hyun-soo also deliberately put pressure on Mi-rae. She said that people who had plastic surgery like Mi-rae affected people with natural beauty like her. Mi-rae was not someone who could be bullied, and she would not be swayed by a few words from her. She also said that Hyun-soo had hated her from the beginning, right? But Hyun-soo still used a fake face to say that Mi-rae should not misunderstand. If that bothered Mi-rae, she would not say anything more. Her words sounded like she was comforting, but it was clear that she was still attacking the fact that Mi-rae had plastic surgery, even though she did not want to pay attention. That day, Mi-rae could not stop thinking about what Hyun-soo said. Mi-rae felt that she was not suitable for the handsome and talented Kyung-suk. A beautiful person like Hyun-soo would be more suitable. Mi-rae did not see Kyung-suk all day, so her mood became even worse. Kyung-suk didn't go to school because he went to deal with his younger sisters running away from home. Kyung-suk also helped his younger sister and mother make up. Then, he went to his best friend's bar to have a few drinks and received a message in the group. Everyone invited each other to go to the baseball gym to play, while Kyung-suk went from bar to bar looking for her. Mi-rae was having a great time. When Kyung-suk arrived, he saw Mi-rae cheering for Woo Young non-stop. Kyung-suk couldn't be outdone. He showed that he was also a professional baseball player. When they went to pay, Woo Young and Mi-rae kept pushing each other back and forth to pay. This made Kyung-suk very upset, but seeing that he didn't have any money, Kyung-suk could only stay silent behind. When they came back from playing, Mi-rae's face was gloomy. Mi-rae couldn't tell the real reason, so she had to lie. She gave the excuse that she was a little unhappy because she lost the game. The next day, while going to work, Mi-rae still didn't say a word to Kyung-suk. Seeing that, Kyung-suk directly asked why she was angry. But how could Mi-rae dare to be angry? She just forced a smile to let it go. At this moment, a male colleague brought Hyun-soo over to say hello. She even brazenly said that it was Mi-rae who introduced her here. Seeing Mi-rae's attitude towards Hyun-soo, Kyung-suk astutely guessed that Hyun-soo must have said something to Mi-rae. But no matter what he asked, Mi-rae said no. Hyun-soo was so brazen that she texted Mi-rae, asking if Mi-rae could let her have a private meal with Kyung-suk later. What a coincidence. It was lunchtime, and there there were many customers, that colleague was called to work overtime at noon. The manager also needed a volunteer. At this time, Hyun-soo deliberately looked at Mi-rae, making Mi-rae reluctantly agree. So Hyun-soo successfully went out to eat alone with Kyung-suk. Kyung-suk knew very well that she had bad intentions when she kept following him and Mi-rae. Kyung-suk also confirmed that he had no feelings for her. At this moment, she decided to use her ultimate move. She showed that she just wanted to be friends with Kyung-suk. She said she wouldn't bother him anymore if Kyung-suk didn't like it. Just waiting for that, Kyung-suk stood up and left. In the bathroom, the rude coworker talked about Mi-rae's plastic surgery. He even joked about whether her breasts were fake. At this point, Kyung-suk couldn't hold it in anymore. Kyung-suk rushed up and punched him, knocking him down, then left. Unexpectedly, this guy didn't know what to do and chased after Kyung-suk. Kyung-suk also saw Mi-rae standing outside the door. He knew for sure that she had heard what the coworker had said earlier, so Kyung-suk was even angrier. He dragged the coworker into the restroom and beat him up. Despite Mi-rae's efforts to stop him, they were all taken to the police station. The coworker still didn't know how to repent. He forced Kyung-suk to apologize to him, and Kyung-suk did apologize. But Kyung-suk apologized for not killing him so that he wouldn't open his mouth to speak. Hearing that, the coworker wanted to beat Kyung-suk up again, but Mi-rae couldn't stand it anymore. She forced the coworker to apologize to her first, but the coworker's face was still arrogant, pretending to be innocent, apologizing in a defiant manner. He even forced Kyung-suk to kneel down and kowtow to him before he would forgive Kyung-suk. Mi-rae didn't want to waste any more time. She directly took out her phone and called the manager so she could sue the co-worker for defamation. The manager was also very cooperative. The co-worker saw this and quickly apologized. Just when the director arrived, she heard Hyun-soo tell her about this. She was worried about Kyung-suk and Mi-rae, so she quickly ran here. On the way back, the director asked Mi-rae with concern, "You must be heartbroken. Are you okay?" This warmth made Mi-rae cry. She thought she was fine if she thought she was fine, but it seemed that the words of others were really what hurt her. The director came to comfort her, saying that she didn't do anything wrong today. It was someone like the co-worker who was wrong for having such thoughts. Both Kyung-suk and the director were very worried about Mi-rae, so the three of them decided to go home after eating outside. After eating, Mi-rae's mood improved a bit. When she returned, Mi-rae thanked Kyung-suk but didn't forget to tell him not to hit others like that again next time. Because of her, Kyung-suk felt angry with himself because all he could do was hit others because they dared to gossip about Mi-rae. These words made Mi-rae a little moved. Kyung-suk also said that if such things happened again in the future, he would intervene without using violence. It was Kyung-suk's gentle warmth that made Mi-rae even more moved. She said that if he said that again, she would misunderstand. Kyung-suk really wanted to know what she misunderstood, but Mi-rae did not say it. She was about to turn back when Kyung-suk lost his patience, directly grabbed Mi-rae's hand, and asked if she liked him. However, Mi-rae did not understand Kyung-suk's words. She actually said that she only saw him as a friend. Like that, the two of them missed the opportunity to confess their feelings to each other. The next day, Mi-rae was absent-mindedly walking around, wondering if she should get a haircut because she was heartbroken. Suddenly, she bumped into Kyung-suk, who was walking towards her. She looked up and saw that Kyung-suk's hair was a bit different. It turned out that he had dyed his hair. Talking to Kyung-suk was too awkward, so Mi-rae quickly found an excuse to leave. For several days, Kyung-suk and Mi-rae didn't talk to each other. Mi-rae only dared to look at Kyung-suk from afar, and the fact that Mi-rae kept avoiding him also made Kyung-suk feel uncomfortable. He was uncomfortable with everyone around him. Seeing that, the director invited Mi-rae to a meal, conveniently asking what was wrong with Kyung-suk lately, that he was always frowning, but Mi-rae didn't know either. She only knew that Kyung-suk dyed his black hair blue, but looking at Mi-rae's face, the director felt that she seemed to be the one who had something on her mind because she looked worried. Mi-rae confided in the director. The director was a bit puzzled. It seemed like the two of them liked each other, but why did Mi-rae choose to give up? Mi-rae felt that Kyung-suk was out of her league. He was such a perfect person. There was also a very pretty girl pursuing Kyung-suk. That was Hyun-soo. What Mi-rae feared most was if Kyung-suk dated someone who had had plastic surgery like her, people around would gossip about him. The director was not involved, so she couldn't do anything. She could only advise Mi-rae to make the right choice so she wouldn't regret it later. That day, everyone started to sign up for the experiment. At the company, Hyun-soo wanted to approach the director, so she signed up. A while later, Kyung-suk also signed up. The next day, everyone joined the experiment. Mi-rae, with her passion and knowledge of perfume, easily guessed all the scents correctly. After that, everyone went out to eat. Talking while eating, Hyun-soo's best friend suddenly became interested in the type of guy Mi-rae likes, but Mi-rae didn't care. But Kyung-suk seemed to really want to know about it. Hyun-soo's best friend then gave a suggestion. Did Mi-rae like a guy who treated her coldly or a guy who was warm? But Mi-rae couldn't understand, so she only liked normal people. Hearing this, Kyung-suk's lips curved into a smile for some reason. After that, he stood up and walked walked away first. Kyung-seok was absent-mindedly thinking when it started to rain. He went to the supermarket to buy an umbrella and suddenly remembered what happened before. Kyung-seok took another umbrella and returned to Mi-rae. Just in time, he met Hyun-soo outside the door. She acted naturally and intimately, saying that it was for Mi-rae, not hers. Kyung-seok had hated her fake face for a long time, but unexpectedly, she rushed up and hugged Kyung-seok. It turned out that she had seen Mi-rae walking out. Mi-rae saw Kyung-seok hugging another girl. She was heartbroken and left, ignoring the rain. Hyun-soo grabbed Kyung-seok's hand and asked him if he didn't feel anything. Of course, Kyung-seok felt disgusted with her. Mi-rae felt her chest hurt at this moment. She felt heartbroken seeing Kyung-seok hugging someone else. At this moment, Kyung-seok held an umbrella over Mi-rae from behind. Seeing Mi-rae in such pain, Kyung-seok couldn't bear it. He had already said that he didn't have feelings for Hyun-soo. Seeing Kyung-seok holding an umbrella over her and getting wet, Mi-rae pushed the umbrella to him. But taking the opportunity, Kyung-seok grabbed Mi-rae's hand. Kyung-seok grabbed Mi-rae's hand and asked if she really didn't know, which was why she said that. He asked her if she liked him. He didn't want her to avoid him anymore. Even though Kyung-seok had expressed his feelings, Mi-rae still hesitated. She thought she wasn't worthy of Kyung-seok, and to her, Kyung-seok was a friend, and a friend wasn't allowed to go beyond friendship. Mi-rae also cared a lot about what other people thought. During middle school, she was despised for being ugly. Now she was rumored to be a Gangnam beauty. That was enough for Mi-rae. She didn't want Kyung-seok to accept those cruel words because of her, but Kyung-seok felt angry. He only wanted to know what Mi-rae thought of him and didn't care what other people thought. That way, Kyung-seok didn't have a chance from the start. Receiving confirmation from Mi-rae, Kyung-seok turned around and left in disappointment. But he didn't know that on this side, Mi-rae was also heartbroken and crying. The next day, Mi-rae met Kyung-seok at school. It was difficult for both of them to talk to each other. After a while, Kyung-seok felt that he should make it clear to Mi-rae. He thought that if he made Mi-rae feel awkward, he should stop first. But being friends like before was impossible. However, he would still wait for Mi-rae's answer. That night, Mi-rae and Woo-young went to the movies together. While they were eating, Woo-young confessed that he liked her. When Mi-rae asked why he liked her, Woo-young said he liked her because she was beautiful. This surprised Mi-rae quite a bit. She didn't think that a senior she respected could like someone just because they were beautiful. But that wasn't what Woo-young meant. Mi-rae was beautiful, but his feelings for Mi-rae grew because of her personality and who she was. Even though Woo-young told Mi-rae to think about what he said, after only a few steps, Mi-rae had already thought it through. She apologized to Woo-young. Until now, Mi-rae still felt that she had no right to refuse. Woo-young said that it wasn't that people didn't deserve to be loved or weren't allowed to like others. No one had the right to laugh at Mi-rae. When she liked someone, she couldn't control their emotions. Woo-young also knew that Mi-rae and Kyung-seok liked each other for a long time. He just wanted to have a chance to confess to her. Woo-young even sincerely wished the two of them luck together. But he didn't expect that the scene of Woo-young comforting a crying Mi-rae would be accidentally seen by Kyung-seok. Kyung-seok misunderstood again. He also knew how to be heartbroken. It turned out that Mi-rae rejected him because of senior Woo-young. Kyung-seok was sad, so he drank a lot of alcohol. So much that the next day he was still full of alcohol smell. Looking extremely tired, he went to the infirmary to rest. But Hyun-soo kept showing concern, but didn't dare to visit Kyung-seok, letting everyone gossip and talk as if she and Kyung-seok were a couple. Hyun-soo was also shameless when she went to tease Mi-rae. She said that she was afraid of being gossiped about because she wasn't worthy of Kyung-seok when the two of them were a couple. Meanwhile, she herself knew that Kyung-seok didn't like her. Furthermore, Hyun-soo felt guilty for letting Mi-rae see her and Kyung-seok hugging the day before. But even Mi-rae knew that things weren't like that. It was obvious that Hyun-soo was lying. Kyung-seok heard that Hyun-soo dared to tell everyone that she liked him, and he was visibly angry. He went to see Hyun-soo and said that he had never hated anyone so much. Looking at Hyun-soo's innocent face, Kyung-seok felt tragic for her. He said that if he dated someone else, wouldn't it ruin her reputation as a goddess? Having the truth exposed by Kyung-seok, Hyun-soo couldn't argue anymore. But hearing that Kyung-seok was going to publicly announce that the person he liked was Mi-rae, Hyun-soo intended to use public's gossip to hurt Mi-rae. At this time, Mi-rae also discovered that Hyun-soo really didn't like Kyung-seok. She ran to call Kyung-seok and said that she had something to tell him. Before leaving, Mi-rae also needed to talk to Hyun-soo. Mi-rae warned Hyun-soo not to interfere in Kyung-seok's life. Hyun-soo still pretended not to understand. At this point, Mi-rae let it all out. Everyone recognized that Kyung-seok was both handsome and talented. If he dated someone else, Hyun-soo's position would be pushed down. That's why she wanted to make sure that Kyung-seok couldn't date anyone else if he didn't date her. Unexpectedly, Mi-rae and Kyung-seok both realized Hyun-soo's true intentions. Now, Mi-rae had Hyun-soo's plans in the palm of her hand. She also explained all the bad things Hyun-soo did to carry out her plan. Now Hyun-soo couldn't deny it. She took the initiative to admit it. When Mi-rae left, Kyung-seok Kyung-suk was still standing there waiting for her. He asked what important thing she wanted to say. Who would have thought that Mi-rae had already forgotten about it? At that time, she had only said that to get Kyung-suk to leave. Now that she had to think of a reason, Mi-rae asked Kyung-suk if he had sobered up yet. The question made Kyung-suk a little disappointed. He thought Mi-rae's important matter would be very big, but Mi-rae said that it was because she was worried about Kyung-suk that it was all that was needed. Kyung-suk was immediately happy, and he even took the initiative to ask Mi-rae out to eat. But Kyung-suk still wouldn't let Mi-rae go. He asked why she had to interrupt when he was talking to Hyun-soo. Was she worried that something would happen to him? That wasn't exactly the reason Mi-rae rushed there. Actually, she went there because she didn't want anyone to bother Kyung-suk. She didn't want Hyun-soo to make the person she liked angry. That night, because of a broken heart, Woo-young drank so much that he passed out drunk and had to let Kyung-suk help him brush his teeth. While drunk, Woo-young also said that he had been rejected by Mi-rae. This made Kyung-suk extremely happy. He immediately picked up the phone and called Mi-rae. Mi-rae thought it was something important, so she rushed out. Unexpectedly, Kyung-suk just wanted to make sure that Mi-rae herself said that she had rejected senior Woo-young. Mi-rae also told Kyung-suk the reason why she rejected Woo-young, simply because she liked him. This sentence made Kyung-suk very happy. Finally, he waited for the day Mi-rae opened up to him, so the two of them finally confirmed their relationship. Kyung-suk finally won over his crush. Saying this made Mi-rae a bit confused and nervous. On the way home, Mi-rae allowed Kyung-suk to hold hands first. When saying goodbye, Kyung-suk was still a bit reluctant to let go of Mi-rae's hand. The next day at the lab, Hyun-soo saw Kyung-suk. She tried to close the distance with Kyung-suk, even though he had made it clear beforehand. But Hyun-soo still tried to ask Kyung-suk to say that he was dating Mi-rae. At this time, Mi-rae came and saved Kyung-suk. She answered for Kyung-suk that the two were dating, even though Mi-rae was the one who said to keep it a secret. She said it first, which surprised Kyung-suk. He was also very happy that she was the one who took the initiative to say it first. During the lab session, Kyung-suk kept texting Mi-rae, making her lose focus. She was even caught twice. Luckily, Mi-rae quickly thought of a reason to reply. After that, Mi-rae and Kyung-suk went out to eat together. Before arriving at the meeting place, Mi-rae took the opportunity to buy a bottle of perfume for Kyung-suk, and even engraved Kyung-suk's initials with a heart on the back. When arriving at the meeting place, Mi-rae was afraid of meeting acquaintances, so she sneaked around for a long time before daring to sit at table with Kyung-suk. Who would have thought that as soon as she sat down at the table, the two seniors would also go to the restaurant to eat. Luckily, Mi-rae just happened to go to the restroom. Finally, thanks to Kyung-suk, Mi-rae was distracted so that she could run outside. And that day's meal turned into a spy rehearsal. Two of them hadn't even had a bite to eat yet, and Mi-rae was worried that someone would see her. She kept looking around, so they had to return home. The next day, to solve the problem of being recognized, Kyung-suk took Mi-rae to the supermarket to buy masks. The two argued over who would wear them. The solution was both of them would wear. On the street, wearing two completely black masks like that would attract even more attention. In the end, they took off their masks and stopped holding hands. If anyone asked, they should just say they were neighbors and were just going together. During lunch break, Kyung-suk and Mi-rae were sitting in the break room talking. Suddenly, the director walked in. The two of them were like children who had done something wrong, just standing there listening to the reprimand. The director was very happy about this. She always wanted Mi-rae and Kyung-suk to date each other. Unexpectedly, everything went according to her wishes. Then the director left, giving the young couple their privacy. It was just that this young couple seemed to only be able to hold hands on the bus. Just when Hyunjung called, Kyung-suk refused to let go of Mi-rae's hand. He had to take advantage of this short time. Hyunjung called to say that she would go to her parents' house for a day. Hearing this, he knew that today Mi-rae was alone. There was a chance for them to live alone at home. Mi-rae asked Kyung-suk if he wanted to come. Of course, how could Kyung-suk refuse? Unexpectedly, the plan was ruined when Kyung-suk went shopping to prepare for the romantic date tonight. Mi-rae came home and found her parents there, so Kyung-suk had to wait for Mi-rae to distract them and wait for her parents to come home. Kyung-suk had to go sit in the park. Finally, Mi-rae's parents came home, and the two of them were able to have dinner together. This was the first meal the two of them had since they started dating. After eating, there was nothing to do, and watching a movie was a bit of a waste of time. Mi-rae suggested making scented candles, and while doing so, the two of them confided in each other about when they had started liking each other. Mi-rae had liked Kyung-suk since she knew he had never laughed at her, and Kyung-suk had liked Mi-rae at the freshman welcome party. That was when Mi-rae's first love had made things difficult for her. At that time, Kyung-suk was really angry. Kyung-suk accidentally let the candle wax fall into his hand. Even though he said it was fine, Mi-rae was very worried. She took Kyung-suk to wash his hands. She was also concerned about the small wound, but it was very hot. When Mi-rae was about to go get some ice, Kyung-suk suddenly pulled her into his arms and hugged Mi-rae. He used to hate the smell of perfume, but now he really liked it because it was used loved on Mi-rae. While they were being affectionate, Mi-rae smelled a burning smell. It turned out that the scented candle they were making was broken. After cleaning up, the two blew out the candles, cut the cake, and celebrated their first date. Mi-rae also took out the perfume gift she had bought for Kyung-suk. Even though Kyung-suk didn't use perfume, Mi-rae still wanted to give it to thank him for everything. Mi-rae also said that she would make their relationship public. She wanted to tell everyone, Hyun-jung, senior Woo-young, and Kyung-suk's mother, so there were 3 people supporting them. She thought that was a good number. Kyung-suk was very happy with Mi-rae's words. The next morning, Mi-rae dressed up nicely and prepared herself to face anyone who asked, but it seemed like no one noticed that the two of them were together. Perhaps Mi-rae was thinking too much. While practicing making their own perfume, the instructor noticed and said that since they were a couple, they could make perfume together. Mi-rae also told them that she and Kyung-suk were dating. This information surprised everyone. Everyone was happy for them and even complimented that they looked good together. So it was Mi-rae thought too much about. From now on, she could freely show her affection for Kyung-suk in public. This time, the two seniors also discovered that Hyun-soo threw up after every meal. Mi-rae only wanted to help and comfort her out of kindness, but she said that Mi-rae made her feel bad. Hyun-soo also said that Mi-rae thought that dating Kyung-suk was a victory over her. Hyun-soo also used Mi-rae's plastic surgery to insult her. Of course, Mi-rae wasn't worried about her. Mi-rae also said that Hyun-soo had no right to tell her whether she was allowed to date Kyung-suk or not. The next day, Kyung-suk and Mi-rae wore school uniforms to reminisce and fulfill Mi-rae's old dream. The two of them went to a small restaurant and ordered 2 hamburgers. But because the burgers were big and Mi-rae didn't want to lose her image in front of Kyung-suk, she only ate a little at a time. Understanding that, Kyung-suk deliberately turned his face away and closed his eyes. He also said that he wouldn't look, so she just bit. Mi-rae took a big bite that almost choked. Looking at Mi-rae's puffed up cheeks, Kyung-suk felt it was so cute. After that, they went to visit the old school again. The campus was still covered with trees. The classrooms were the same every day, and the desk where Mi-rae used to sit was still filled with insults and curses. It made her a little sad, but Kyung-suk took Mi-rae to the basketball court. The two of them happily played basketball with the students there. Then the two of them went to the movies together. In the theater, there was a rude man who interrupted about something unrelated. He couldn't believe that these people were dating. Like this, they wouldn't get into university. Kyung-suk was very angry when he heard that. He was about to stand up to teach him a lesson, but Mi-rae took action first. Seeing her power, the man could only keep quiet and quickly leave because they were too busy sitting in the cinema. Kyung-suk and Mi-rae were 2 minutes late and missed the last bus. They called for a taxi, but there was none. Mi-rae thought for a while and decided to take Kyung-suk to her parents' house, but there was no one at home because her parents went to a birthday party and her father was a bit drunk and couldn't drive. So tonight, there were only 2 people staying. Mi-rae found some soju and snacks in the fridge, so the two decided to have a drink. While waiting for Mi-rae to change, Kyung-suk's eyes focused on a photo frame. He had just picked it up when Mi-rae walked out, not intending to show it to him. So there was a scene where Kyung-suk kept holding the photo frame high, while Mi-rae kept getting closer. Mi-rae pushed Kyung-suk down on the chair and pressed on him to get it. This contact made both of them embarrassed. They talked about that photo frame. It was an old photo of Mi-rae. Mi-rae didn't want Kyung-suk to see that ugliness. She was afraid that Kyung-suk wouldn't like her anymore. But Kyung-suk didn't care much. He just wanted to look at it to remember what she looked like before. Even though he still remembered that face sometimes, Mi-rae decided to let Kyung-suk look at the photo for 3 seconds. If he still liked her after looking at it, then he really loved her. Kyung-suk decided to use actions to show Mi-rae that he didn't love her just for her appearance. Kyung-suk leaned forward to kiss Mi-rae's lips. Mi-rae didn't refuse. The two gently shared their first kiss. Confused by Kyung-suk's question about whether she really liked him, Mi-rae could only change the subject to going to sleep. This answer was so easy to misunderstand that Kyung-suk jumped up. Thinking back that what he said seemed wrong, Mi-rae quickly corrected that it wasn't like that. Then she went back to her room, while Kyung-suk slept in the living room. At this moment, Mi-rae's mother called. Because Mi-rae was already asleep, but her mother kept calling, afraid that his girlfriend's mother would worry. Kyung-suk had to answer the phone. Seeing a strange man pick up her daughter's phone, Mi-rae's mother quickly switched to a video call. Kyung-suk politely greeted her and announced that he was Mi-rae's boyfriend. This was a big surprise for her mother. After finishing talking to Mi-rae's mother, it was her father's turn. He was so surprised that he didn't know what to say, only saying that there was a camera installed in the house. This sentence made Kyung-suk even more panicked. So wasn't the fact that he had just kissed Mi-rae recorded? Kyung-suk lost sleep all night worrying and looking for the camera. Unexpectedly, Mi-rae informed him in the morning that there was no such thing at home. Because Mi-rae's parents lied about having a camera at home, Kyung-suk thought that they didn't like him. But it was just that Mi-rae's parents were happy that she had a boyfriend. Hearing that, Kyung-suk was somewhat relieved. Seeing Seeing that Mi-rae looked tired, Kyung-sok lent her a strong shoulder to lean on. Mi-rae also leaned closer to. At this time, Hyun-soo finally received her retribution. After a series of actions of flirting with boys and then ignoring them, everyone became more and more distant and felt that she was fake. The climax was that this guy always had a one-sided love for her. He thought that he was being teased for his feelings, so he found a way to get revenge on Hyun-soo. He secretly took photos of Hyun-soo, posted them online and stalked her, making her depressed and fearful. Finally, he went to Hyun-soo's door to question her. Seeing the boy's agitated state, Hyun-soo tried to run away but was stopped and pushed down by him. Faced with his threats to apologize, Hyun-soo could only lie there waiting to die, calling for help in despair. After Hyun-soo's screams, he ran out just in time to meet Mi-rae's group. Kyung-suk and his seniors chased after him, while Mi-rae went up to see if Hyun-soo was okay. Hyun-soo was afraid that something had ruined her beauty, so she kept her head down and cried, even wanting to leave this world. It wasn't until Mi-rae showed Hyun-soo that she was fine that Hyun-soo put down the piece of glass in her hand. Unexpectedly, after calming down, Hyun-soo pushed Mi-rae away. She didn't want the person she hated to help. Mi-rae couldn't stand it anymore. She also hated Hyun-soo, so she asked her why she acted like that. Mi-rae was ugly, so she had to have surgery, and she was ugly, so she was not allowed to be happy. What about Hyun-soo? She was beautiful, but was she living happily? After calming down, everyone took Hyun-soo to the hospital. Mi-rae volunteered to stay and take care of her. The next morning, when Hyun-soo woke up, she saw Mi-rae sleeping next to her. Mi-rae's hand was still holding hers, but this time, Hyun-soo did not reject her anymore. Maybe she had thought it through a bit. The next day, back in class, the whole class already knew that Mi-rae and Kyung-sok were dating. They seemed very excited. Everyone felt that the two were lucky to be together. They even teased the two, making Mi-rae extremely embarrassed. After a while, everything returned to normal. Senior Woo Young was still admired by his juniors. Someone even asked him to set them up, but he refused, and Woo Young and Hyun Jung seemed to have something going on. Hyun-soo had cut her hair and had taken a leave from school. She brought a bottle of perfume to give to Mi-rae. Afterwards, she went to find Kyung-suk and said that she didn't like him for a second. Even though he had already guessed that Hyun-soo was the one who gave Mi-rae the perfume, Kyung-suk still acted spoiled and pretended to be upset with her. Only when Mi-rae showed him the contact name saved on her phone did he smile and let it go. Today was Kyung-suk's birthday. Mi-rae deliberately prepared a surprise party for him and even sang him a birthday song. Although Kyung-suk didn't like such a fuss at first, seeing Mi-rae's cuteness, he couldn't help but smile. Mi-rae gave Kyung-suk a shirt as a birthday present. Out of habit, Kyung-suk answered that he didn't care, but thinking back, he still sincerely said that he liked it. Mi-rae also took a commemorative photo with Kyung-suk. Finally, after many hardships, Mi-rae and Kyung-suk were now very happy together. Their love was also sincerely blessed by everyone. The two happily held hands and walked on the road towards a happy and fulfilling future. Coming to the beautiful and kind Mi-rae, Kyung-suk also found the true love of his life. Although he had previously thought that he would not get married, meeting Mi-rae changed his whole life. The movie ends here. Thank you for your attention. See you all in the next movie.